Are you ready to get spicy?
These Doritos Golden Sriracha aren't that spicy.
Sriracha? Sounds pretty spicy to me.
A little spicy, but also tangy and sweet.
Maybe it's time to turn up the heat.
Or turn it down. It's time for something that's not too spicy. Try Doritos Golden Sriracha.
Spicy.
But not too spicy.
Today's superheroes are all talk and no action, but the Toxic Avenger, he'll rip a guy's arm off at a moment's notice. Go see the radioactive superhero crack skulls, dodge bullets, and even pull someone's intestines out of their butt. But don't worry, it's funny and nice and everyone is gonna love it. All the absurd, hilarious, unrated glory is only in theaters on August 29th. Buy tickets at toxicavenger.com/podcast. Hey everyone, Shelby here to ask for your help to make Bloody FM even better. If you have a moment, please take our listener survey so we can learn what you like, what you don't like, and what else you're listening to. You can find the survey at bit.ly/bloodysurvey. It takes less than 5 minutes and it's really easy because, hey, you're just telling us about yourself. So if you've got a couple minutes, please head to bit.ly/bloodysurvey and click the link. It'll really help make Bloody FM and all our shows better. One last time, that's bit.ly/bloodysurvey. Thank you so much.
You have to control yourself!
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking Chip, you know how I hate the brown word. We're talking Be Warned, she is armed and fucking nuts. And we're talking No Please, fashion has changed. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking Pussy Willows, Dottie.
I love that we, like, at some point we're both going to have to try to do Kathleen Turner's voice, but I just cannot drop the octave down that low because that voice is so husky.
Just smoke a bunch of cigarettes like I did.
Oh my God. No, sir, I will not.
Yeah, just smoke a pack of cigarettes and you'll be totally fine for like 10 minutes.
Sure, a pack of cigarettes and like an entire bottle of whiskey.
Basically, yes. Oh yeah, the throat coat, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But yes, everyone, we are discussing John Waters' 9th feature-length film, Serial Mom, from 1994, starring the wonderful Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie where you think if John Waters wasn't a cult figure and this was a more mainstream, I mean, I know this is his most mainstream film of all, but this is the kind of performance that you think, in hindsight, this should have been nominated for a bunch of different awards.
Like Oscars?
I think so. This is such an inspired performance.
Oh, the performance. Okay, yeah, I could totally, at least a Golden Globe, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if Meryl Streep can get nominated for all of her, I like Meryl Streep, but let's be honest, she gets nominated for a bunch of bullshit, and so does Nicole Kidman. Like, if this movie came out, I want to say 15 years later, and had this kind of thing going for it, this would be nominated for shit.
It's just the thing, again, I'll talk about like kind of the road this film had to production, obviously, and the kind of like non-success that it was when it first came out. But it's a thing where like John Waters, I would never say is like a mainstream filmmaker, but I feel like now he is more mainstream, at least in terms of the public eye, than he ever has been.
Absolutely.
And I just want to see what movie he would make today, because he's 79 years old, and I'm like, I don't think he's going to make a movie before he dies. So like,
well, and the fact is, as we have said several times, he wants to make another movie. He just cannot find financing right now.
And that's really, maybe it's the social media train needs to hop onto this. Like, someone needs to just make John Waters go viral on TikTok once, and he'll get a movie made.
Right. Can we get whatever current generation is running social media to latch onto him and make him very popular?
Basically, yeah. But, okay, so with Serial Mom, though, Joe, so I'm assuming you had seen this before, right?
So here's the fun thing. I only watched this a couple of years ago in anticipation of our first trip to Salem Horror Fest, because I did an interview with John Waters for the 25th anniversary of this film.
Oh, so you've spoken with John Waters. Yes, I totally forgot about that.
I did. It's actually, I haven't done a ton of interviews, but I would say his is in my top like 1 or 2 most memorable, in large part because he actually stopped me at one point and said, "Darling, that question is just a little bit basic. I've been asked that before. Don't you want to try something a little more exciting?" He read me, Trace. He read me.
Well, from what I've seen, because he is a wonderful interview from what I've seen, but also, like, I mean, I've listened to, whenever we cover one of his films, which I guess we've only done
just
Female Trouble, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, when I buy one of his films then,
there we go.
I always listen to his commentaries because he is such a delight to listen to. He's so insightful.
God.
Like,
yes.
He is a wonderful man, and whenever he does die, it's going to be a really sad day for everyone.
Oh, I mean, leading with the dark shit off the top here.
I've been thinking a lot about mortality of like that certain like that generation of filmmakers. I mean, he's going to be 80 in like less than a year.
Well, it's also been a rough year. It feels like we've lost a lot of celebrities this year.
Yeah, celebrities that weren't even in their 80s yet.
No.
But okay, so do you like Serial Mom?
I do like Serial Mom. Yeah, I mean, coming to it so much later, I knew that this was a lot more accessible, that people kind of regarded this as something of the normies or the newbies' entrance into his oeuvre, and I would definitely agree with that, but I think it still has all of the hallmarks that make his films so weird and quirky and fun, so I like it as an example of something you could use to get people onto his wavelength before you show them the weirder shit.
I fully agree. I definitely saw this as a kid because it played on TV.
Okay.
Well, because it played on TV all the time. So I always saw it edited. But I mean, really, there's not... Like, this movie is easy to show on TV because the language you can easily bleep out or, like, you know, whatever. And even the gore is not that...
It's not that much.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure they show the fireplace poker scene, like her pulling the liver off of it. Like, I don't even think that's cut on TV, so...
Probably not. I mean, let's be honest. Depending on when you watch this movie, you're definitely seeing worse things in a procedural.
Oh, absolutely. And so I think this was my very first John Waters film, and I've always really liked it. And it was interesting to revisit it after having seen all of his early work. You know, I think I talked about this before, you know, where I did a marathon of like basically all of his early films, like up through Crybaby, actually.
Yeah, I think when we covered Female Trouble, you had already watched all of them because it was your pandemic project. I remember that infamous episode because, folks, if you go back and listen maybe closely, if you squint a little bit, you can hear that Trace has COVID during that recording, and he doesn't remember anything from it.
Oh, that was that recording? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I do like this movie a lot. I don't think I'm as high on it as everyone else. It's like, it is not my favorite John Waters film by...
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's up there, but like, even in terms of modern John Waters films, I prefer Cecil B. Demented.
I think I would agree with that, although I have not seen Cecil B. Demented since it came out. So,
oh, yeah.
I have wanted to program it for us. Like, it is actually celebrating an anniversary this year, and yet our schedule has precluded us from covering it. We have already taken on too much, and we cannot take on more content.
Yes, but you better believe they just announced it's like Umbrella Entertainment, an Australian company.
Ooh, okay.
They just announced the Blu-ray release of Cecil B. Demented for its 25th anniversary, and even though I don't have the Blu-ray player that can play that, I still bought it because that movie doesn't have a Blu-ray.
Yes. God love the boutiques that are releasing the smaller films or the niche films. God, I just wish that it was easier or cheaper to get our hands on them because the import fees on an Australian disc.
I fully agree. But yeah, I do agree with you as well, though, where you can see a lot of the John Waters isms in Serial Mom, but
yeah. They're just slightly toned down.
And that's kind of my issue with it. And granted, like, this is John Waters playing in the studio system, which is something that he wasn't particularly fond of, which is why we get the subject matter of Cecil B. Demented, which is entirely tackling the Hollywood studio system. But but I like a lot of this, but I think more so it is Kathleen Turner's performance that elevates this movie for me, and less so Waters' script.
Yeah. The script feels like there are certain people slapping his hand if he tries to get a little too daring or a little bit too risque, which is not to say that, you know, it's very safe. If anything, I think the satire of true crime is very appealing to me, particularly where I'm at right now in my current life. He's very good at forecasting where we would go or where the culture would go.
Well, as they say many times in all these bonus features on my Scream Factory Blu-ray, like, this predates O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, this movie comes out a couple of months before the quote-unquote new trial of the century.
Yeah, it's wild. So, okay, so let's go into this.
All right.
The idea for this film came to John Waters because he spent a lot of his free time just going to murder trials across the country.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, and he also spent a lot of time teaching film in prison. So, anything that's in this movie, like specifically the fight, like the last 20 minutes that are in the court, like he's like, all of that like stuff is pulled from my time, like going to murder trials. Like all those flyers being handed out, that's what you don't see in court cases on TV. Like I was there, like with that kind of shit.
Right. He was in the trenches.
Yeah. But it does kind of work out that this is the second Waters film we've covered after Female Trouble, because he even says this movie is basically Female Trouble Part 2, because that was also about a woman who, like, you know, started killing people and committing crimes all for the sake of fame and beauty.
Yes. In fact, I think I even remember, as I said, you would not, but I think we referenced the fact that it feels like an early prototype version of Serial Mom, specifically the court piece that ends that movie.
Yes, absolutely. So these themes of crime, beauty, and celebrity are basically put more realistically on screen in Serial Mom compared to something like Female Trouble. But Waters even said, he goes, I had never seen someone make a movie where you rooted for the serial killer to kill more, all for the sake of humor. And I was kind of like, well, there probably is something.
I don't know. I would say there's quite a few slasher films that would fit that bill. But, I mean, he's probably thinking outside of subgenres of horror.
Well, that's the thing. He says all for the sake of humor. So I guess it's more of a direct comedy than a horror film.
Right, yeah, like a dark comedy is probably more of what he's thinking.
Yeah. So Serial Mom was actually originally written for Columbia Pictures, and Waters said it was the best meeting he ever had. Like, he walked in, he did the pitch, he walked to the elevator, and an executive pulled him back inside and goes, hey, like, don't fuck with us, but, like, it's a yes if you don't go to anybody else and if you take this amount of money. And that's exactly what happened.
Yay, money!
But, of course, that was kind of the best thing that happened in the pre-planning for this movie, because what happened was there were different people running the studio, and so by the time he had written the script 6 months later, things had changed. There were a lot of, like, change of guard and things like that. And
right. And what the previous regime had greenlit and loved, the new people said, oh, that's not our thing.
Yes. So basically, they kept the script for a long time without telling him yes or no, even beyond the date of turnaround, which is when they would normally, like, turnaround's basically when they would offer the property to another studio to recoup any money they may have invested in the film already.
Jeez, so they sat on it then.
Sat on it. Although, I feel like Columbia, specifically at this point in time, God, there was something we covered in the past year or two where I mentioned there was a book someone wrote specifically about this, like this mid-90s phase at Columbia Pictures and how bad they were managing things.
Right. I mean, it's a tale as old as time.
I know. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but everyone, like, it's something from the mid-90s that we covered recently.
Right. It feels like a Wolf style situation or something around then.
A little bit, yeah. But anyway, during this time, while they were sitting on this script, Waters had to think about casting. And after Crybaby, which is the film he did before this, Waters decided to never do stunt casting again.
Oh, okay. That's Johnny Depp effect?
Well, so I was thinking Johnny Depp, but no, I guess because that movie is very much a satire of, like, 50s musicals, like, there were a lot of musical cameos and stunt casting in that movie, which, again, I didn't pick up on, but he was, I don't want to do that again. So he was like, what I want to do now is cast people that no one would ever expect to be in a John Waters film.
Okay, so like a Quentin Tarantino approach in a way.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, like, anyone would be in a Quentin Tarantino film. No one would be in a John Waters film.
That is true. Yes. No one respectable, at least.
So Glenn Close, Meryl Streep, and Roseanne Barr, the latter of which is probably like the closest, like that would have probably slotted in here if Kathleen Turner wouldn't have done it.
Oh my God, She-Devil Part 2.
I know. Which actually, yeah, if it's Glenn Close, Meryl Streep, and Roseanne Barr, I wonder if John Waters had just seen She-Devil. And that's why he was like, yeah.
Quite possibly. Great movie, folks, by the way.
But the role was always meant to go to Kathleen Turner, who at that time was riding a career high that started with the 1981 erotic thriller Body Heat.
Oh my God, yes.
I've never seen Body Heat, by the way.
It's so fucking good.
I've heard. Well, I guess I've never seen Kathleen Turner as a sex symbol, and I would imagine that movie is the one that did it.
Wait, you've never seen Romancing the Stone?
I have. I don't think...
You don't think she's treated like a sex object in that? I mean, like, in fairness to the film, she's meant to be sexy and fun.
I guess, like, those are, like, PG-rated family films, you know? That's, like, the Steven Spielberg. I don't think of, like, sex when I think of those movies. I think of, like, action-adventure.
Okay, you know what? That is fair. I will give you a little treat that'll maybe entice you a bit more. There is a suggestion that she gets fucked in the ass in Body Heat. Like,
Okay.
that is the risque subject material that film is dealing with, but not in like a shady, judgy Jade kind of way.
Right. Which I still
You're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, no, I know what Jade is, but yeah, like all these are honestly we should just like just do an erotic thriller month, Joe. It's fine. We'll just watch all these ones I haven't seen.
My God, we've done an erotic thriller month, but yes, I would happily do a second one.
Well, we didn't cover Body Heat. We didn't cover Jade.
No. I mean, it's an anniversary year for Jade as well.
Oh my God. I've heard that one it's really hard for me to take David Caruso seriously, but it's fine.
The problem with that movie is that it's boring. And as Kill by Kill is apt to repeat, the biggest thing in that film is just what if people did anal. Like, that is the premise of the film. Oh my God, I can't believe she does anal.
But anyway, okay, so yeah, she got her start, like a big start with Body Heat, and her career continued through the 80s with big successes like Romancing the Stone, Peggy Sue Got Married, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Accidental Tourist, and my personal favorite, The War of the Roses, which is getting a remake this year.
Yes, it'll be out right around the time people start to listen to this episode.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for that movie. Anyway, so Turner initially put the script down after the fire poker scene because she was like, nope, this is too much. Yeah. But she couldn't dismiss it, so she went back and read further until she kills the guy with the air conditioner, and she was like, nope, too much, not doing it again.
Okay.
She goes back, but she's like so intrigued.
Keeps coming back.
And so finally she called Waters and she was like, look, I need to know how you're approaching this before I say yes or no, because are you doing this like a gore fest or are you doing this as a comedy? And he goes, let me come and talk to you. And 4 hours later, he shows up at her door in New York and they talk.
Wow. I love this idea of directors flat out chasing the people that they know are going to be perfection in their movies.
Well, and I think it's because he knew, though, like, if he got Kathleen Turner, that's an enormous name, so no one's going to tell him no.
Yes, exactly.
And, of course, when she said yes, which she did after this meeting, she had a bunch of people telling her, well, you can't work with John Waters.
What are you thinking? It's career suicide.
Michael Douglas apparently even called her saying, tell me you're not doing this. And I couldn't... Because Turner says when she recounts the story, she was like, I think it's because we were about to do Jewel of the Nile. And so he was like, oh my God, like, is this going to like really affect...
It'll affect me.
Yes. But Jewel of the Nile was like mid to late 80s. So I was like, was this happening back then? I don't think that was possible. So I think she was misremembering that, but...
It's possible.
But then it was like she was getting from her agents, like, you're an A-movie actress and he's a B-movie director. And... I like this. Turner's mindset was, and this is what she said to all these people, like, John Waters has made films that have touched and moved people all over the world. And by this point, she had only seen Crybaby, apparently.
Okay.
But the one thing she saw among all of his characters was that as awful as these people looked or as bad as they behaved, they were never hurtful or malicious. It was always this spirit of acceptance among all these people that she just really, really respected and appreciated about Waters' writing.
Oh, I like that perspective. That's nice.
I do too. And I would quibble maybe and say, well, there definitely are...
There's definitely some bad people who are not looking out for other people in his films, for sure.
Yes, but that theme of kind of acceptance, I think, is still kind of there. And, I think we'll probably make this maybe obvious assessment a lot during Serial Mom, but like, come on, like the serial killer stuff is basically standing in for queerness.
What?
I know, right? But, okay, because Turner was now involved, Serial Mom landed at Savoy Pictures instead of Columbia. And this Savoy Pictures, they were a short-lived distributor co-founded by two former Columbia executives who didn't seem to grasp the humor of the movie they had acquired.
Yay.
So, from what I can gather, they did not read this script. They thought...
Problem number one, I'm going to say.
Yes, they thought it was going to be a true crime, like more leaning into the true crime film and not a comedy. And so, but since Turner was involved, they said, oh, well, she said yes, yeah, sure. Yeah, yes, purely on the basis that Kathleen Turner was attached.
Okay, so they got starry-eyed by Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, they were like, oh, Kathleen Turner, cool, done deal. Like, this will be a huge success. So, with that, Waters was given the biggest budget he would ever have on a film, $13 million.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just, I'm thinking of some people where that's basically their lunch money on a production. Yeah. And I'm not going to suggest that John Waters has cut his teeth and he deserved more or something. Like, obviously, Hollywood is a very fickle business. The way that people get their budget assigned to them, the films that they get to make, it's like very politically oriented. It's all about like the right timing, the right people, and so on. And John Waters has never played in that sandbox. But still, it's wild to think that it's like, oh my God, 13 million. I'm Scrooge McDucking over here.
It's because in the 70s, he was spending like, what, 20,000 tops on a lot of his movies? Yeah. And even for inflation, I mean, that's like, $25-30 million today, which is still pretty, that's a good streaming release right there.
Yeah. It's what we typically pay for the biggest movie coming out of something like Sundance, right?
Yeah. But with this money, he was able to do something he'd always wanted to do, which is bring together Hollywood stars and New York stage actors and his Dreamland crew. And again, everyone, if you want that John Waters primer on Dreamland and all of that, please go listen to that Female Trouble episode.
Absolutely.
Now, they filmed this movie in a neighborhood that John Waters grew up in because, of course, they're always filming in Baltimore. That's always John Waters' films.
It's a signature, baby.
The school where Beverly runs over the teacher is the same school where Divine was bullied every day for his childhood.
Oh, well, that's not a great fun fact, is it?
Now, to Waters, Serial Mom is a true crime drama satire. And he says, all of my movies are satires. Like, every single one of my movies satirizes something.
Right.
And so he read a lot of true crime, and, as I said, he taught in prison and all that kind of stuff. And the weird thing is, people really did believe that this case was real after they saw the movie because...
Well, I would say that it's because of the conceit, the way that the film is made.
Which I was curious, Joe. So in your plot summary, do you have all the timestamps?
Of course I do.
Okay, good, because I did it too, and I was like, this is wild. Like, there's so many timestamps in this movie.
Which, to me, only becomes funnier as the film progresses, because you're just like, none of these timestamps mean anything.
It's so arbitrary.
Exactly, yeah.
But, okay, there's also this fascination with celebrity, though, right? And the excess of capitalism has always interested John Waters. And he clarifies, I'm not for capitalism, but this excess of capitalism, always interests me. And so...
Well, the reality is that we live in a world dominated by capitalism. So you can say, oh, well, money doesn't interest me, or capitalism is just a concept. But it's like, no, it's the thing that actually governs our lives. Like, if you don't have money, you can't exist as a human being. So how people go after more money and what people will do for more money is completely up for satire because it's utterly ridiculous sometimes.
Honestly, I feel like in another life, if he wasn't going to be a filmmaker, he would make a really good anthropologist or sociologist.
Right. Let me just study people because people are fucking weird.
Exactly. But all of this brings us to Patty Hearst, who is in this movie and in most of John Waters' movies from Crybaby onward, because I think Crybaby was the first movie of his that she was in. But she met John Waters at the Cannes Film Festival, and he came up to her and was like, oh, I was at your trial.
Well, they actually had become friends by this point, hadn't they?
Well, no, this is when they first met. So the first thing he says to her is, I was at your trial, and I really want to put you in one of my films. And she was like, she's like, that was the strangest introduction I've ever had. And she never thought he was going to call her back. But then, a year later, he called her and put her in Crybaby. And she was like, then now we're really good friends. But... There was a little anecdote in this movie, too. So, she gets beaten by Kathleen Turner at the end of the film. And Kathleen Turner was like, oh, wow. She's like, she must have taken fight choreography or something because she really knows how to take a punch. It's really nice to work with an actress who can take a punch. And someone was like, well, it's probably because of what she actually went through,
well, she was part of a liberation army, basically indoctrinated into a terrorist rebellion.
Basically, yeah.
Folks, if you don't know the details, I will actually tell you about them when we get to that point in the film.
I'm really glad because I do find the entire Patty Hearst thing very, very...
Oh, it's a fucking saga. I'm giving you a very short primer, but...
Good. Well, if we ever cover Cecil B. Demented, we can do it in full because Cecil B. Demented is basically an adaptation of the Patty Hearst story.
Yeah.
But they finished the movie and they tested it and the money people said, hey, hold on. We will never release a movie where someone lights a teenager on fire. You cannot show Serial Mom setting her children's friends on fire. And John Waters said, well, it was in the script.
I actually already got approval for this. I will say I'm intrigued that is the piece that kind of broke people in terms of this film is suddenly not acceptable, because that is the one death in this movie that I just always think, oh, that feels like a bit of a step too far.
That is so interesting. I don't see what the big deal is, but you're right, because Kathleen Turner, even today, she says that's the one death that I'm like, I don't think that one was necessary.
Yeah. Like, I'm not suggesting it ruins the film for me, but it's at that moment where I'm not able to have as much fun with the movie. And I do think, oh, this almost sours me on the character a little bit. But, then there's a lot of great other stuff. It's just, it feels like the one death that occurs not because someone has transgressed her, even though, yes, Scotty has done the whole, he smirks at her, he doesn't wear a seatbelt and so on, and she technically kills people for way less throughout the course of this film. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because it's a teenager, and really it feels more like she is trying to cover up someone who has seen her commit a murder, even though at this point, everyone already knows she's a fucking serial killer.
Yeah, they're fucking cheering her name in that scene.
Yeah.
But, so... then they're doing screenings with, like, the heads of the studio, and Turner sat next to the head of the studio for one of these, and he turned to her in, like, mid-screening and goes, "It's a comedy?"
Oh my God.
Like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm 2 minutes into this movie and I know it's a fucking comedy. Do these people make movies? Do they understand how movies work? How do movies work, Trace?
They thought it was going to be this true crime thing that they could publicize that way. And I think then, like, any kind of marketing they had planned for the movie, they were like, oh, wait, we have to completely pivot. And this is not what we had signed up for, even though you had the script in front of your fucking faces.
This is wild to me. This sounds like a you problem, not a me thing.
Yes. And so, like, at that point, Kathleen Turner was like, oh, shit. Like, we're
in trouble.
Yes. And it was a big fight. Oh, so because they were telling John Waters, you have to cut out the scene of her killing Scotty. And
right.
Apparently, this is what they say. I don't have a lot of context for this, but they said that Kathleen Turner went to Miss Smith, the columnist. Does that name sound familiar to you?
No. But I wonder if it's a gossip columnist?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a Dear Abby type thing, but yeah. For gossip. But either
maybe
way,
for Hollywood gossip specifically?
Maybe it was. But Kathleen Turner went to Miss Smith, the columnist, told them the whole story of what was going on. And the next day, Miss Smith's headline was, "Leave Serial Mom Alone." And the studio was not happy with that.
No, I can't imagine anybody likes it when you go behind the studio's back.
Mm-hmm. But they did back off, and they let them keep the scene in the movie.
Okay, well, sometimes it works.
But because of that, however, the studio decided to hold a screening in deep suburbia, and it was a very bad experience. It did not get received well, because in deep suburbia, there's an audience filled with very conservative people, aka the people that never, ever, ever will watch a John Waters film.
Right. I so badly wanted to interrupt you and ask if it was in Houston, Texas, but then,
dude,
you know.
I know. I think it was somewhere in like the New England area, but like still. So it wasn't going particularly well, but Waters admits, well, they paid me a very, very good salary to make this movie, and the more Hollywood pays you, the more they're going to have a say. So if you don't want to hear notes, then go make an underground movie.
That is true. Yes, with more money comes more problems, I have heard.
Yes, I will say his latest book, Mr. Know-It-All, which I think came out in 2019, apparently there's a big chunk in that book on Serial Mom and kind of his dissatisfaction with the post-production period, and I bought it, and it's not coming in time, so I won't have it for this, but
oh, okay.
Generally speaking, like he did not have a good post-production experience with this, and I would imagine this is probably one of the worst studio experiences he had, which led to him doing Cecily Demented.
Sure, yeah.
Although I don't think Pecker did very well either, so...
Oh, I don't think so. And people don't look back fondly on Pecker, do they?
Oh, I think Pecker is really sweet. It's not the best John Waters film, but again, it has a heart in it that I think that is really, really special. And it's very clear again.
All right, there we go.
But yeah, so Serial Mom closes the Cannes Film Festival. They were not in competition.
Right.
And apparently Waters was like really terrified at this because the year before, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman had Far and Away, the Irish immigrant movie there.
Right.
That was booed off screen.
Oh, didn't know
and so
that.
Waters was like, if they're booing Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, like what are they going to do to my movie? And
oh my God, John, you should know that in the French, they love anarchists, so they're probably going to give you a very warm reception.
Exactly. So when the lights came up at the Cannes screening of Serial Mom, everyone jumped to their feet and was applauding. People were screaming, "Je t'aime, John! Je t'aime, Kathleen!" Like, I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. So you would think the studio would be like, cool, let's give this movie a big push. People like this movie.
No. They're just going to say, oh, that's the French. Never mind.
Exactly. So in Kathleen Turner's words, this movie was released in more theaters in Germany than in the United States. But
yay, Germany.
It was released on Friday, April 13th, so Friday the 13th of 1994, the first day of spring after the worst winter in the world. So nobody went to see any movie that weekend.
Right.
Serial Mom opened in 502 theaters and placed in the number 11 spot with $2 million.
Outside of the top 10. That's unfortunate.
But here's the thing, though, because I was like, let me go look at these like weekends because this like winter, summer, like spring thing.
Sure.
He was right. So Serial Mom in number 11 made $2 million. The number one movie that weekend was 4 Weddings and a Funeral in its 6th week of release.
I'm sure it was like $7 or $8 million, right?
$4.2 million.
Oh, that is a bad weekend.
So like literally so number 1, 4.2 million. Number 11, 2 million. So all these movies. So I went through like the entire like rest of the summer basically. The box office stayed that way until the weekend of May 11th when The Crow opened in the number 1 spot with $12 million.
Okay. So it was a rough spring.
Yeah. April 1994, no one was going to the movies.
There we go.
But Serial Mom finishes its domestic run with $7.8 million, making it a box office bomb against that $13 million budget.
And a cult hit is born.
Well, and so critically, the movie got mixed reviews, but mixed positive. So we're looking at a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, but to your cult statement, Letterboxd users have given this a 3.8 out of 5, or a 7.6 out of 10, which is, for Letterboxd, is pretty high.
Yeah, but I also, I truly do believe that you could show this to people who don't know who John Waters is and say, this is a satire of true crime. Like, this movie, I think, plays better
today
now. Mm-hmm. Probably in the last 10 years, it has only gotten stronger in terms of its content and its critique.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, today's Serial Mom is more popular than ever, and arguably is John Waters' most famous film among the majority of people, because it plays on TV every year for Mother's Day.
Which is hilarious to me.
And as you helpfully clued me in last week, because we're programming this week because of Labor Day, this should be a Labor Day staple too.
Exactly. Let it be a warning to you all, folks. Your time to wear white is running out.
Oh, yeah. The ticking clock.
I love that it's not even like she's wearing a white suit. It's just a pair of white fucking shoes.
I mean, she's wearing them multiple days in a row, too.
Well, that is the other thing. Girl, you gotta shake it up. You're a public figure. You're juror number 8, baby.
But, okay, Joe, so what happens in this movie?
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is where humans and AI coordinate work together. AI makes it easy to hand off routine tasks, streamline workflows, and keep everyone focused on the work that matters most. That's how work gets handled. That's Asana. Visit us at asana.com. That's ASANA.com.
Nothing brings us together like Eggland's Best Eggs. Always so fresh and delicious, plus superior nutrition like 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat compared to ordinary eggs. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
Are you sick of the same old superheroes fighting to save the world yet again? What if there was a superhero who fought for things you actually need, like health insurance and job security? That superhero is a radioactive janitor named the Toxic Avenger, and he needs you to show the fuck up on August 29th exclusively in theaters. Buy tickets now at toxicavenger.com/podcast, because a better superhero is possible.
All right, so this movie begins with a classic of true crime, a staple, you might say. We have a script that offers some context. So the film is a true story. The screenplay is based on court testimony, sworn declaration, and hundreds of interviews conducted by the filmmakers. It then goes on to say some of the names have been changed, no one has been given financial compensation, and so on. But like, Trace, I see this nearly every week when I cover stuff for Murder Made Fiction.
I mean, how coincidental, too, that we're covering this the week after we did Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Right? We just had a conversation about this, and yet still applicable.
So maybe that should be our theme month one year, is doing like a month of movies that are like presented as fact, but they're definitely not.
Wow, there could be that as well. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because I imagine there's several that like to take this conceit. And then, of course, yes, for my other podcasts, it's movies that legitimately purport to be based on real events and then sometimes they tweak the formula to introduce a little more fiction. So, okay, so we crane down to a lovely suburban home in Townsend, which is just outside of Baltimore. It's a suburb of Baltimore. And we are introduced to matriarch Beverly Sutphin, who is played by Kathleen Turner. And she is all about getting gum out of people's mouths. So that's one of her early fixations that she will not abide. So her family includes boy-obsessed daughter Misty, who is played by Ricky Lake. We have dentist husband Eugene, played by Law & Order Sam Waterston, as well as horror movie-obsessed son Chip, who is played by Matthew Lillard. And I'm not going to lie, all of the scenes of Chip working in a video rental store, it's a fucking audition for Stu Macher.
100%. I think the most bizarre casting in this movie, though, is Sam Waterston as this dad. He is, I think, out of all these people, the last person I would ever expect to see in a John Waters film.
I agree, but that also kind of makes it delightful. He's got a subplot or a character arc in the background of this where he starts the movie in support of capital punishment. And then by the end of the film, he's wearing a little pin that says no.
Oh, no gas chamber.
No gas chamber. Which just goes to show that your opinion can change dramatically when it affects you personally and you know someone in your life who is dealing with it.
And there was a moment behind the scenes where I guess halfway through filming, he had to go to Kathleen Turner's trailer and he was like, "Are we glorifying serial killers?" And Kathleen Turner was like, "No, honey.
No,
this is a satire.
We're making fun of it. We're making fun of the people who glorify it."
But it's so funny because I've never seen Law & Order, so I've literally, the only thing I know Sam Waterston from is playing the gay guy on Grace and Frankie.
Yes, one of the two husbands.
Yeah.
Which is also a fun shift for him because, Law & Order, it's great in terms of increasing a bunch of people's visibility. Basically, if you work in New York and you're not on Law & Order, you have done something very, very wrong. I've made that joke before. But the reality is that it's like most procedurals in that it's stick to this character. You don't really get a lot to do. The performance is very subdued. You're part of a machine. You're a cog to advance the story. So Sam Waterston made a career out of this, but his character just kind of came in, did a bunch of things, left. So,
and that's why I think I don't have that kind of off the screen or next level awareness of the casting where I'm right. I'm so used to him on Law & Order. It's so different that he's playing this one of the gay husbands in Grace and Frankie.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that this is a super dynamic performance from him because I think Eugene is deliberately coded as a bit of a boring suburbanite.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is a guy who just gets by with, okay, well, I guess I'm going to cancel my birding plans because I've got an emergency dental procedure I have to perform for an asshole.
Well, and he's kind of a buffoon.
He's a little bit of a buffoon, but you know what? He loves his wife, and that's the most important thing in this film.
He sure does.
Okay, so Misty is talking about her new college beau, Carl, and this is before the family debate shifts to talk about whether the Hillside Strangler should be allowed to obtain a degree in prison or if they should have just killed him instead. And I love that. This is where I know that it's a comedy, is where Beverly is listening to all of this and she just quietly jokes, "We all have our bad days."
Well, I think that's the thing is too, Kathleen Turner plays all of this very straight. She doesn't go over the top with her performance. And I think
she's got some wild eyes in a couple of scenes. And I think, yes, she doesn't go Mrs. Loomis or anything.
Right.
But she could have gone way bigger and it's almost funnier because she doesn't.
I fully agree with you, yes. And I should point out, too, that John Waters is very much against capital punishment and the death penalty. He is very for rehabilitation. This is,
sure.
I think he lobbied for a long time to get one of Manson's girls, out of prison.
Yeah, I think we touched on that in Female Trouble.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? How could you? You had brain fog?
Brain fog, yeah.
All right. So we do see, though, that Beverly is not one of those women who is afraid to kill. She's not timid in that way because when she sees a fly, she takes this motherfucker out. And I do love that John Waters gives himself
the title card.
The title card over the bloody carcass of this insect.
That written, directed by John Waters, fly splat.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, so we get our first date and time card. It's Friday, May 14th, 1993 at 7:26 a.m., and we are introduced to Detectives Pike and Gracie, who are played by Scott Wesley Morgan and Walt McPherson, respectively, and they have arrived at the Suffin house so that they can ask Beverly about a series of obscene phone calls that their neighbor, Dottie, has been receiving.
Which, I feel like this is probably, with the exception of the Labor Day stuff, all the Dottie Hinkle stuff is the most famous part of this movie.
Yeah, if only because it's very ridiculous, but you can also capture it in a kind of like a still, a meme, and it's just immediately funny. So also, this has got to be commentary about how police funds are used to track down like the dumbest shit. Because why would they be wasting their time on obscene phone calls? Like, why would they go to someone's house at 7:26 in the morning to be like, take a look at this note, but be warned, there is language in it. And then we fold it open and it says, I'll get you, pussyface. But it's written in ransom letter cutouts.
Yeah, because they're cutting it out of a magazine. Oh, I do love this, though, because the P for pussy is from Premiere Magazine, and no magazine would, like, let them, like, use them, like, the actual magazine, like, in the movie.
Defamatory.
For some reason, Premiere said yes. They were like, sure, why not?
Because it's a fucking joke, and we get it.
I just love pussy face. Like,
yes.
What a funny... I've never heard someone call someone else a pussy face.
Wow. And maybe it's because you spend a lot of time with women, Trace, because as we learn from the dialogue in this movie, no woman would ever use the P word.
Oh. No woman would.
And really, life doesn't have to be ugly, so we don't need to use that kind of language. Man. Beverly would fucking hate our podcast, wouldn't she? We would be on a hit list.
We would definitely be dead. I know. I like to think that I'm a good enough person that she would be like, you know what? It's 'cause, honestly, all the people that do these kind of bad things, most of them are kind of assholes too.
Oh, yeah. This is a movie filled with assholes, but they're small-time assholes. Like, they're not capital A asshole. They're small letter A asshole.
Yeah.
All right. So let's meet horror nerd Birdie, who is played by Patricia Dunnock. Trace, why is she wearing a Jughead cap?
I don't know. This character, I think, can be cut out of the movie entirely, and it would make a difference.
It's unfortunate, yeah. It feels like we're setting something up where she and Chip are going to be romantically engaged. I do think you can easily read that, like the reason that she and he end up springing Beverly from the church when the mob kind of comes after her with the pitchforks. You very much get the impression, oh, is there something more between the two of them? But the movie doesn't actually seem to care.
Well, and she reads a little queer to me as well.
I think so, yes.
But
like it could go one of two paths, right? It's she's the girl who's the movie nerd who wants to hang out with the boys, queer coded. You know, she's basically what's her face from a Psycho Beach Party.
Oh yes, but I guess I just think that you could merge the Misty and Birdie characters. I think
so. Yeah. Or even mix it into Scotty, because Scotty's main role is just to be a bit of a dickhead who drives a car that we need.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But see, we kill him, we don't kill Birdie.
I know, but Birdie also disappears from the movie in the back half.
Isn't she there selling T-shirts or something at the trial? I don't know.
Probably, but you know, Misty is also already doing that, and I think it makes more sense for Misty to be doing it.
It absolutely does, yeah.
Okay, yes, so we also mentioned Scotty. We've mentioned Scotty several times, who is played by cutie patootie Justin Whalen, who I believe I know from Sequest.
Yeah, I know Justin Whalen because he's Andy in Child's Play 3, but he was also Jimmy Olsen in Lois and Clark with our favorite conservative Dean Cain.
You know what? I think that is what I know. And really, I'm just actively trying to forget Lois and Clark, in part because of Dean Cain. Like, there's someone who has made a comeback that I don't need to ever hear from again.
But he was in this great, and I know some of you millennials out there will know this movie, but he was in this great Disney Channel movie called Susie Q with Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger.
Oh, okay. Wait, did you talk about this on our Mighty Morphin's Power Ranger?
Maybe. I can tell you right now, every gay boy loved Susie Q if they were like my age at this time, because she was like this girl in the 50s who died on her way to prom, and so then it's the modern day, and then she's a ghost that only he can see, and so he has to help her get back to her prom date who's in heaven or something. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It sounds like a reverse Casper.
A little bit, yeah. But you always, you just want her to come back to life and be in love with Justin Whalen, and that's unfortunately not how that works.
Oh, okay. Well, tragic romance. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Birdie and Scotty have arrived to pick up Chip and also to ask Misty if she can sell a Pee Wee Herman doll. Do we know if John Waters had a relationship with Pee Wee? Because they're both kind of on the fringes, right?
He may have also just really liked him. Like, we get this Don Knotts reference later with this painting, and apparently, because I listened to the commentary with John Waters, and he was just like, oh yeah, I have to always have a Don Knotts thing in my movies. I just think he's really cool.
Oh,
I'm like, okay.
You know what? You do you. You're the person who makes the movie, so you get to fill it with whatever you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, the studio says no otherwise.
Well,
but
yeah. Don Knotts? No. People won't like that.
Right? We can't sell this movie with Don Knotts. Young people have no idea who we're even talking about, so it's great. Anyway, okay, this is then our introduction to Carl Pageant. This is the college beau of Misty. He is played by Lonnie Hersey. Yeah, so he's there to pick up Misty, and we've also got the cops outside joking about how Beverly is basically giving off a Cleaver vibe. And, of course, this is like the Cleavers, you know, very suburban.
Beaver Cleaver, yeah.
Yeah, but just... I'm trying to explain in case people have no fucking idea what the reference is, but...
Everyone, look up Leave It to Beaver, and if you don't want to watch the show, go watch the 90s movie.
Sure? Is it good?
I liked it as a kid.
Okay. Anyway, the takeaway is they think, oh, this woman, she's so nice, she's so normal, there's no reason to suspect her of anything at all. Which, of course, is why at 9:37, so, you know, a couple of hours later after they have questioned her and the kids have been sent off to school, Beverly then does call Dottie. So this is our introduction to Mink Stole in a split-screen prank and cuss-out trace.
Okay, so as funny as all the profanity is, I actually think the thing that makes this scene work so well is Kathleen Turner holding back her giggles every time she's about to do something.
Because part of it is that, yeah, she's saying really offensive things, and that's good for a laugh, but also it's just the reaction. Like, she knows that she can set Dottie off, and Dottie is getting so offended by all of this. And I think that's what Beverly loves. You know, she's being a shit disturber, and that's what makes it fun.
It's a thing, though, and again, I don't really care about the logic about it, but this movie seems to posit that this is the first time she's done a lot of this stuff, because she would have been caught way earlier if she had been doing this before. And so,
oh sure, she's on a spree. The events of this film take place over the course of just a couple of days, and then we jump ahead to the court case at the end. But it's like she escalates from offensive, dirty phone calls to full-on serial murder in the span of like a couple hours.
And there's not an inciting incident. Like, there's not something that like sets her off. It's just she just decides to start doing it one day. But yeah, I mean, is this the cocksucker residence?
I mean, part of me thinks of how funny it would be if somebody tried to prank you with that now. Like, the version you would expect of this would be dirty phone calls. But it doesn't play as dirty unless you want to read it as, oh, there's an interesting queer element here. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you talking about this woman's pussy willows?
I will say, though, like, Mink Stole, who is in every single one of John Waters' feature films,
right?
I always wish she had a bigger role in his film, because she does have a bigger role in a lot of his early films, because she's one of his main, like, Dreamlanders. But in his Hollywood film, she really is kind of relegated to cameos. And I think that this is the one she probably has the biggest role in.
And this is fun, but you're right. She's not in it a ton. And if this is the biggest one, then it's not that big.
Right. I do love her delivery of whenever Beverly pretends to be the woman from the phone company. And she's like, I'm a divorced woman. Please help me.
Yeah, she just needs that extra hand. It's hard. It's hard to be a divorced lady in 1994. Maybe now. Who knows?
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore. Yeah. Okay, so as the prank call is escalating, yes, because we hung up and then we redialed and pretended to be a new person, we do have another neighbor, Rosemary, who is played by Mary Jo Catlett, overhearing Beverly shouting on the phone, but Beverly just plays it off. Like, oh no, I was just getting upset with somebody else. So,
which, I mean, I'm like, there's no way she didn't hear everything you were saying in that room.
Right?
But whatever.
It's a closed door, but it's not soundproof. So obviously Beverly is pretty good at play acting though, because, she gets in her car to drive to her PTA meeting and she passes Dottie as she is gardening and she gives her, like a little wave and so on. But we then get a flashback to the source of her disdain. So where did this hatred begin, Trace? It was when Dottie stole her parking space at the grocery store.
I love this so much. It's so fucking petty. Everything that she gets angry about is very petty.
Oh, sure. Yes. Which Beverly would fit right in nowadays with like social media culture, where it's like, oh, what are we all getting angry about today? It's the stupidest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so 3:36 p.m. after making small talk with Ralph and Betty Sterner, they are played by Doug Roberts and Kathy Fannin, respectively, Beverly meets with Chip's math teacher, Mr. Stubbins, who is played by John Badilla, and the teacher has called her in because he thinks that Chip is doing great in all aspects. There's just one very alarming thing. It is Chip's sick obsession with horror movies. So basically, Beverly has been asked in to answer the question, is there a problem at home?
Oh my God. I love that he asked her. He's like, did your son torture small animals as a child?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The way that we approached horror movies was often that you had to be sociopathic. So one of the traits of a sociopath, and of course, this is a movie about true crime in part, and a lot of them do have a history of abusing animals before they start to hurt human beings.
I just think that by now it's like that's such like the go-to for like shorthand for that's a serial killer, torturing animals when he was a kid. But but yeah, we get a Herschel Gordon Lewis references in here because Chip has a big blood feast drawing, and of course John Waters is a huge fan of Herschel Gordon Lewis. Yeah,
because we see her watching the movie with Chip later on, right? That's one where she says, "I want to see the heart pull."
Yes, I was really confused because she says, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this." But like, why? And I get the joke. She wants to watch a horror movie because she likes killing people. But I feel like at the same time, Blood Feast would be a movie that she would not deem appropriate.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever.
You know what? She's a complicated lady. So Beverly takes offense to this. So when she goes outside, she decides that she will hit Mr. Stubbins with her car and then back over him repeatedly. And the only problem with this plan, well, maybe a lack of a plan, is that she did not pay attention to the stoner girl who was watching all of this unfold. But also, the stoner girl is really fucking stoned.
She's really stoned. One of my favorite comedy bits from this is when she's just kind of like slowly creeping up on this teacher with the car. And then he turns around and she just waves at him like, hi! And I'm like,
I'm going to run you over and kill you now.
You're following him into like an enclosed parking lot.
Yeah, and she barely even has space to accelerate. She's so close to him by this point. Which is why she has to back over him a couple of times. Finish the job.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so she is at home at 5:22 p.m. when Scotty nearly throws up over said clip of Blood Feast. So Beverly feeds them cookies. She kicks out Scotty as well as what's-her-face. And basically, she does this so that she and Chip can actually watch a key scene. And I do love this transition between the bloodiness, the gore on screen, to then the perfect meatloaf. I think it's a chef's kiss.
Yeah, I do love a meatloaf, too.
I do love meatloaf, yeah.
I love how it's just slathered in ketchup, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes I think, do I actually like meatloaf or do I just like the sugary sauce? Because I do have a sweet tooth.
Because meatloaf, so I don't know about you, but actually you don't cook very much, so maybe you don't know. But like, I love just making soups and stews because just putting everything into a pot. And meatloaf is basically just like a meat stew because it's just a big thing of ground beef that you're just putting a bunch of shit into.
That is fair, yes. Although when you describe it that way, I find it less appetizing.
Oh, I mean, I think meatloaf is generally considered as like a poor people's food because it's, I know.
Sacrilege.
I love making meatloaf.
Yeah, I would say in terms of like, oh, you've got a bunch of ingredients and you just need to make something and you can like put it in with ground beef. It's either meatloaf or chili. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh,
chili.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
Throw everything in the pot.
Which is also basically a soup.
It is basically. Yeah, it's a meaty soup. Apologies to all the vegetarian listeners.
Meaty soup.
Meaty soup. That's also the title of my band name and my sex tape. Okay, so yes, we're eating meatloaf for dinner. I just want to give a quick shout out because I think for 1994, this would have been when things like Jenny Craig and all of the other like weight loss, Weight Watchers and that kind of shit really would have been taking over the culture as well. So I wanted to give a quick 1994 shout out to Beverly's advice to Misty that she should lose weight only for herself and not because Carl deems it necessary. Great parenting advice.
And this is wild, though, because I think at this point... Oh, no. So, yeah, when they were filming this, Ricki Lake's show had just started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Ricki Lake infamously went through a lot of, like, weight journeys and so on. Like, she was heavily critiqued for her weight gains and losses.
Yeah. I mean, but again, like her first big role was in John Waters' Hairspray as the fat Tracy Turnblad. So, like, that kind of was her... Shtick isn't the right word, but like whatever the nicer word for shtick is. But then her talk show was, I mean, I didn't watch her talk show, but she was basically the female Jerry Springer, wasn't she?
I think so, yeah. I think with a softer edge, it wasn't quite as sensational, but it definitely was also sensational.
Maybe it was more like a Maury.
Maybe a bit like a Maury. Yeah. I mean, they were all not great. Like, I think if we look back on them now, we would say, oh, these are hellaciously exploitative.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's always like, what's your baby daddy, or like that person you're dating is actually your father. So.
Okay, so yeah, so her show, it was formatted as a tabloid talk show.
Oh, okay.
It featured single-issue panel discussions with everyday people in which the guests discussed their personal experiences, but these topics were often centered on relational transgression. So I think there was a lot of people cheating on each other.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Good for her.
You know what? She made it work for a very long time.
It went into the 2000s. I had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you can strike pay dirt during daytime television, like if you can host a game show, or if you can get one of these syndicated, like picked up in many market, kind of Kelly Clarkson, back in the day, Ellen DeGeneres and all these other people, like you can just be on the air for decades.
Yeah.
I guess it's like the procedural of the day.
It kind of is, yeah. But for a lot of people, though, it's also like that's the death knell of your career. Like you're doing that and that's it and you're done.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just got to be exhausting because you got to do that like 5 days a week.
I mean, look at late night.
It also seems exhausting, but apparently that's dead now, so we don't have to worry about
it. We're killing off all the late night shows, so it's fine.
Yay! I love it here. Anyway, okay, moving on. So, yes, this is when Rosemary turns up in the middle of dinner. She just walks into their fucking house and says, check out the news. And the news, of course, is that Mr. Stubbins has been murdered, and we do get to see the stoner girl trying to describe Beverly's car, but she mostly just says it was blue. Oh, wait, she'll say that on the stand as well. So we then shift the action into the bedroom, and we see that Beverly is stroking a picture of Charles Manson that she has hidden inside of her bird-watching book.
Well, so I thought that she was reading Helter Skelter with the bird-watching book jacket over it.
It's entirely possible. Yes, we do learn that she has been reading a lot of true crime because the detectives will find it in the trash later. But yeah, regardless, she has it open to, one of those, like, true crime books are very notorious for always including a middle section with, like, crime scene pictures. They're often in black and white so as to be more tasteful, even though they're not. And so she's got it open to Charles Manson, who I think most people would be familiar with his crimes. There's some lesser known people. Like, people may not know who the Hillside Strangler is. By the way, 2 people, cousins.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, go watch Copycat. And listen to our episode on Copycat. But yeah, I think Manson is obviously a big presence here because of Waters' relationship with that one Manson girl.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. But this is also a very, very funny sight gag, she looks like she's reading about birds, and actually she's reading about murder and cults and all kinds of fun stuff.
And it makes her really horny.
Well, and it gets her all horned up, yeah. So we decide we're going to concentrate on life with an aggressive and very loud fuck session. And I love that, we start off by saying, oh, do you think the kids are asleep? And then by the end of it, both kids are out in the hall listening because they're so fucking loud.
And y'all, like, if you have not seen this movie, this sex scene is comically absurd.
It's hilarious.
This was accomplished with the use of a trampoline in the bed.
What? I love that detail. Okay, so the next day is Saturday, May 15th at 7:30 a.m. Beverly is birdwatching. So we realize it's not just a cover. She does have a legitimate interest in birds. So she's watching starlings through binoculars, but she also sees that Rosemary is talking to the detectives. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. This is when Eugene gets a phone call from the Sterners that Ralph is having a dental emergency, and these people are assholes, so...
Yeah, it's a Saturday!
It's like, I get it. I have had dental emergencies. I have actually had a filling that came out, and it's very painful. But you don't browbeat your dentist into coming out. Like, you would find someone who's actually open on a Saturday for an emergency.
This is if you were calling my phone at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday,
it's a no.
Fuck
it's
you.
A no.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to charge... Well, we do get a joke about how much Eugene apparently charges. Ha ha. I mean, here's the thing. People go into dentistry because it's a good money as well. Folks, if you need to change a vocation, you could do worse than dental hygiene.
It's funny. Waters made this character a dentist because in his words, he said, well, you just don't really see a lot of dentists in movies.
That's mostly true. Although I will say, I was surprised that we don't make a dentist joke about Little Shop of Horrors, because there's a serial killer there too.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. And granted, this does predate Corbin Burnson's The Dentist movies, but still.
Yeah. Okay, so Beverly wakes up Chip with an aggressive kiss.
This is great. Oh, no, she doesn't even kiss him. She gets really low down and just goes, Chip! And just comes back up really quickly.
I mean, there's a lot of reading between the lines about the family dynamic in this movie. We don't get a ton apart from that opening sort of breakfast scene, but there is a certain amount of unhealthiness between son and mother, right? Like, you get the impression that Beverly doesn't love Misty the way she loves Chip.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because we see her interact with Chip a lot more than we see her interact with Misty. But at least we do get that line earlier about her weight, so...
Yeah. I mean, she is a dedicated mom. I just say, I think she's a bit more of a mama's boy.
Yeah, she has favoritism.
Or she's not the mama's boy. It's the reverse. But everybody understood what I meant.
I get it.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So Misty is unfortunately not faring well because Carl has stood her up. So she just keeps talking about how she wishes she could kill him. That'll come back later.
Just a little bit. So at 8:10, the detectives return to ask Beverly about her car because it turns out they've done a bit of a search and she owns the only blue station wagon that is driven by a parent at the school. Which to me is like, okay, well, I think that's probably enough to do more than just some light questioning on a Saturday morning, but apparently not. This is when we see that there's a magazine that is missing the P on it, but Beverly claims, oh, that's not my magazine because I always recycle mine. Recycling will play a big part later, too.
Which I do kind of love. I don't remember the recycling craze taking off this early, but I could be... I mean, I think obviously it is, or John Waters just saw the writing on the wall, but this idea that it is a capital offense to not recycle or to not sort your recycling. Like, I love that this movie has an environmental bent to it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this movie is nothing if not topical.
There we go. Yes, continued relevance for this film. So we do see evidence of said recycling at 10:06 a.m. Trace. So we see that Rosemary is not sorting her recycling. She's just cramming everything into this one fucking bin. And this is to the disgust of the garbage men. And then we see Beverly, by contrast, is having a great time singing along, sorting her recyclables. And then she just kind of dances out to these men. She gives them these little airplane bottles of booze.
Whiskey. I know. I was like, that's wild. Like, I would think that would be something that she would say is not appropriate.
Well, and it's before 11 a.m., but right? I love that she has this fluid moral line. You know, in her eyes, it's better to endear yourself to people who are doing minimum wage labor because it's good to have people like this on your side, which I would strongly adhere to. Like,
sure.
I think you and I have had conversations before that if you want things in life, you should get up close and, well, maybe not up close and personal, but you should befriend people like assistants, receptionists, and that kind of stuff because they have a ton of power in terms of like calendars, scheduling, and stuff, access. befriend the people at the lower end of the ladder. That's what I'm saying. Because you know what? They deserve the attention and the praise as well.
When they like her. I mean, honestly, I thought the relationship between her and the garbage man, Gus and Sloppy, was very cute.
Yeah, no, it's very cute. And they all three agree that someone ought to recycle Rosemary, which will maybe come to pass.
I hate her. I hate her guts. I hate her too.
You know what? Let's all dogpile on Rosemary. She does suck. All right, so we cut to the inside of, I think, what is meant to be Rosemary's house, but we're watching TV, so it's her and Dottie. They're looking at a Joan Rivers segment about serial hags. So these are the women who fall for serial killers or people who are in prison, and Beverly is spying on them from outside the window, which again, you would think, oh, voyeurism. That's not polite, Beverly. Mm-hmm. So she is brought inside when she is spotted, and she proceeds to bait Dottie over the dried pussy willows that Rosemary has.
Are those pussy willows?
And then she pins a broken Franklin Fabergé mint egg on the redhead. So basically we just get Dottie in trouble so that we can leave the premises with Rosemary.
I think this is really fun though, because she has no hesitation. It's very much Dottie now knows for sure that I am this person.
Right.
But she doesn't care, and she just blames, she immediately grabs the egg and smashes it. Oh, Dottie! Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
Yep. Ooh, the ruse is up. So this person, I just need to immediately discredit them. And that's what she does. She doesn't even have to think twice about it.
Man, poor Dottie does not have a good ending in this movie.
No, but also part of it is just well, Dottie, mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, Dottie's kind of a bitch.
I mean, I think that there is also a satire of the politics of suburbia in this, right? Where, you've got to mind how you behave around your neighbors because everybody is kind of gossiping and judging everything that you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is why I live in a condo building and don't know any of my neighbors.
Ah, man, we're getting there. We're really wanting to buy a house, and I'm sorry, rent a house because we won't be buying anytime.
I was going to say, you can afford to buy a house,
we
sir.
Can't buy a house, but we just want a yard. I'm it'll be nice to actually have neighbors too.
Yeah. Let's just move to the Sidney Prescott house from Scream 3, where you get a good amount of space, but no neighbors.
I'm pretty sure that costs millions of dollars.
Oh, 100% it does. Yeah, yeah. All we got to do is survive a massacre and write a best-selling novel about it, because true crime, there's money to be made in true crime, Trace.
Oh, what? Huh?
You can sell a bunch of t-shirts for $12. The end of this movie tells us so. All right. Cut to a close-up of maybe the most horrifying moment of this movie, which is Eugene actively taking pleasure in drilling Ralph's new filling. Ugh, dentistry stuff.
I know. We hold on this extreme close-up of his mouth as he's getting drilled for so long.
Yeah. If you have a fear of drills from dentistry-related experiences, this movie will not help you. It may, in fact, trigger you. Yeah. Okay, so at 10:35, the timestamps are so stupid. The detectives confront Eugene about the true crime titles that they found in their trash. And you can tell that Eugene doesn't fully know where this is coming from. Obviously, Beverly has kept it secret from him. But then we move to the flea market, and at 11:20, after Rosemary swaps prices on a fire poker, which, P.S., why are you buying a single fire poker at a flea market?
I was looking at the prices, though. She swaps it out. So it's originally marked, I think, at $6, and she trades it out for a $3 one. And I was like...
Yeah, it's $6 or $7. The price change is so tiny. And you just think, this is what happens. These people have nothing better to do with their lives than, basically commit low-level theft. Mm-hmm. I mean, I say this as though my dad is not a low-key person who just goes around and steals different things at stores. He has become a total klepto.
Oh, that's healthy.
Yeah, and I keep telling him, Dad, you may think it's funny to steal things from these companies, but if they catch you, they will in fact press charges. You will be fined, you will have a go on your record, you will have to appear in court and so on. And he's like, oh, I just steal flowers and other things. And I'm just like, no, Dad, that's still theft.
Stealing is stealing.
I'm pretty sure they will nail your ass to the wall for a stick of gum.
Well, just like Beverly.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so speaking of Beverly, she happens to spot Carl with a new girl played by Tracy Lords.
Oh boy, yeah. Tracy Lords also appears many times in John Waters' films.
Yeah, I can't remember. She's not in Female Trouble, though, right? We haven't talked about her there. We've only talked about her from Excision on the podcast.
Yeah, she was definitely in Crybaby, and she may have been in Hairspray. But yeah, she does a lot of his movies because he loves her.
He likes her, yeah. Yeah. She doesn't get a ton to do here. She's basically just a trophy girlfriend who was supposed to, make Beverly mad because her daughter is feeling really shitty about herself because Carl has obviously, gone on to this other girl. So she ends up getting Carl in the bathroom with said fire poker, but this is all observed by Mr. Marvin A. Pickles, who is played by Tim Cajanio. And I had difficulty reading this character, Trace, because if you are a man in the bathroom around a glory hole, I'm going to read you a certain way. But then at the end of the film in court, he is distracted by Beverly's quivering legs. So I guess we should read this gentleman as at minimum bisexual?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense. Sexually fluid, whatever have you. But I do love that we're doing this through a glory hole.
Yeah.
Which John Waters was like, I don't even think that Kathleen knew what a glory hole was, and I didn't bother telling her.
Right? 1994, you don't really have to worry about looking it up on the internet because it's still a bit too early for that. So, yeah, Kathleen, just, you know what? Don't even bother about it. Just go with the scene.
I found out what a glory hole was after I saw The Sweetest Thing.
Oh, yes. Follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a doggy. Who's a good boy? And then you get a penis in the eye. Okay. Folks, watch The Sweetest Thing. It's great.
The unrated cut only.
Only, yes. Okay, so Marvin A. Pickles does ultimately tell the police what he saw, but, he didn't really see anything, so we just know that there's now a body missing a liver, because, yes, Carl has been run through with this fire poker, and obviously Beverly took the weapon with her, but she does a shit job of cleaning up after herself, so she has blood on her shoes as well as the fire poker. Both of these things are elements that Rosemary will notice.
Yeah, why didn't she wash this in the sink? I was so she does the whole time does a really bad job of trying to clean up after herself.
It almost seems like she doesn't care.
Yeah. Maybe she's like, hey, I'm an upper middle class white woman in the suburbs. Like, who's gonna come after me?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, it seems like it's not only I don't care, but also even if I do get caught, I know I will get off. Which is part of the satire, but also part of the reality, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Race swap Beverly, and this is a much shorter movie with a much darker ending.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Okay, so we go back home, and Eugene has found his wife's stash of true crime clippings. These do include an underwear pic from Richard Speck, who is a man who killed 8 nurses in a killing spree. And then we have a literal tape cassette from Ted Bundy, and we thankfully get John Waters to do the voice of Ted Bundy.
Yeah, this isn't actually Ted Bundy, but I will say that the Christmas card from John Wayne Gacy is actually a Christmas card from John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Jen and I have a lot of struggles with when we talk about true crime is that there is a very active market for not just things like letters or, in this case, cassettes from prolific and well-known killers, but even stuff like John Wayne Gacy would do art. And apparently you can buy his art. It's very expensive because it's a commodity among I don't know whom, but it's a gross aspect of true crime.
I mean, I think that if someone like John Wayne Gacy had been rehabilitated and been released from prison, I think that John Waters would have absolutely put him in one of his movies.
Sure, yes. The rehabilitation part being key. Because unfortunately, many of these people cannot be rehabilitated.
Well, but I think, yeah.
I do have a question, though, just keeping with the true crime aspect for one moment. So, we mentioned that Beverly hides a lot of this among her bird-related activities. And you can clock me if you think that this is a reach, but I did get to thinking about how Psycho is about a prolific serial killer who has an obsession with birds, but then that is also based on true crime because it's in part indebted to Dean.
No, that I didn't even think about that as a possibility, but I think you're probably spot on with that because I do think that John Waters would have been very aware of that.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I don't think it's super explicit. So one way or another. All right, so let's check into the video store. So the kids are watching Joan Crawford in 1964's Straight Jacket. Had to look that one up because I have not seen it.
Okay, Joe, I have to, because I watched Straight Jacket when we were preparing for, I think for Baby Jane, when we first did Baby Jane. But like, so that's a William Castle film, and it's one of John Waters' favorite films. So in Feud, Betty and Joan, when they have to go through like the whole Joan Crawford doing Straight Jacket, John Waters plays William Castle.
Of course he does. And oh my God, that's such inspired casting.
Isn't it good?
Yeah. I mean, he's already got the mustache.
Also, though, Straight Jacket, surprisingly really good.
Is it good? Okay, yeah, because that's one of the ones that she did not want to be making.
No, yeah, that was definitely towards the end of her career, but that was very much, you did the Psycho Bitty Baby Jane, cool, be in a William Castle film. But I'm going to tell you right now, she is great in it.
Oh, great. I mean, here's the thing. Joan Crawford is in a lot of not great movies, but I always got the impression that she was a committed thespian. Like, she would do her best to give a good performance.
Well, I say professional, but she also did a lot of things that weren't professional. So,
she was a entitled professional.
Yes, but nevertheless, we'll cover Straight Jacket one day. It'll be fun.
Okay. Down for it. All right, so let's jump ahead to 7:31. We've got Rosemary and Dottie talking to the police about Beverly. So people are starting to talk. We're starting to congregate. We're comparing notes. And then Chip at dinner casually references that Scotty thinks that Beverly is a killer. And this is maybe one of the funniest moments in this movie. Beverly just goes, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" Stands up from the dinner table, and everybody just sits there and listens as they hear the car start, and she drives away.
And then she has the went to the store on the chalkboard.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. There is a really funny moment too where, so Dottie's talking to the cops again about about the obscene phone calls, and and they're like, "Well, would you prefer to have a police woman talk to you?" And she's like, "I think that might help." And she turns, and it's like the butchest lesbian policewoman.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so Beverly has driven herself over to what we think is Scotty's, and the rest of her family has also come to the same assumption. So they book it over there, and this is where we start to do a little bit of cross-cutting. So we're following Beverly as we realize, oh no, she's actually gone to the Sterners' house. So they are eating dinner. She conflates the chicken that they are very grossly and messily eating with the starlings that she was observing. I don't know if we're actually supposed to read this as they killed her birds, or she just misreads that.
No, yeah, I think it's more like, oh, those could be my birds that they're eating. This is one of those John Waters isms, like these close-ups of people eating this food with their hands, the really loud smacking sounds in the Foley work, like, and that's John Waters says, he's like, oh, eating and sex are always really weird in my movies, and I always make sure I emphasize them.
Just to really turn people off it. You shouldn't eat and you shouldn't have sex, because look at how gross and weird it is.
I also thought this was really funny too. So she sings Barry Manilow's Daybreak on the way to this house.
Yes, she's having the best time.
That is because Kathleen Turner, so John Waters, before they started filming, asked Kathleen Turner, "What do you hate?" And she said, "Well, I don't really like Barry Manilow very much." And so he's like, "Cool." And he makes her sing Barry Manilow in this movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, because like, this is not the longest of scenes or anything, but it is a bit of an extended moment, which means she would have had to have sung this for many, many takes while filming this.
Well, I actually really like too, because this scene, obviously, because we're doing close-ups, but like in scenes where it's like you can just see the car like turning a corner, that is Kathleen Turner in the car.
Yeah, no, I got that because even though I knew that this film had a much larger budget than most of John Waters' films, I knew that we're probably not doing a ton of like professional stunt drivers or something like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we see that Beverly is at the Sterners, but the rest of her family thinks she has gone to Scotty, so they have made their way over there. Scotty, meanwhile, is jerking it to some big boob fetish porn.
Oh, Chesty Morgan, which I thought was a joke, and this is a real porn actress.
Yeah. I mean, that feels very John Waters, right? Let me give this actual sex worker a shout out by emphasizing her movie.
One of her breasts was bigger than her head.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Chesty Morgan.
That's a talent. Yes. Okay, so so Beverly has snuck in and she is hiding in Betty's closet, and they are preparing for a little, after dinner delight. So when Betty opens up the closet to get an outfit, this is when Beverly does stab her, but she doesn't make any noise until she sees that her foot is being bitten by a mouse, and the screen coincides with Scotty's orgasm.
The fact that there's like a little mouse or rat or whatever like chewing on her ankle, I was like, why?
Yeah,
what?
Why?
Okay, sure, let's do it.
It's so bizarre. I think it's meant to be a really ridiculous joke, right? Where, oh my God, there's a literal murderer hiding in my closet, but the thing that scares me most is the fact that we may have an infestation problem with a rodent.
Yeah. I gotta say though, Scotty's masturbating methods,
you're gonna hurt yourself.
It's weird. He's like makes a tent with his body. I thought he had a trampoline under there too.
I mean, he might have. It seems like we just had a bunch of trampolines under beds in this movie.
That is true.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've given masturbatory advice on the podcast before. If we do have younger listeners, allow me to repeat. Lube can still be your friend, even if you're going at it solo, but also learn to pace yourself. It doesn't have to be a sprint. Sometimes it can be a bit more of like a marathon.
You're talking about edging.
I am, but it's just more like people just get so worked up. I'm like, you will break a wrist. Anyway, moving on.
That's gooning. That's what gooning is.
Oh my God. No, I don't. That term.
It's really become a thing. Like I say gooning
everywhere
like it. Now. I know.
I don't like it at all.
Not kink shaming y'all, but I just like...
It's that specific term. It's that, and when people say, oh, it slaps, I'm just like, no, that just feels like domestic violence. We don't need to say that.
Oh, no, I don't like gooning. I mean, I'm not shading if you like gooning, whatever, but like the facial expressions you make when you're gooning and the penis that you keep saying when you're gooning, I hate it so much.
Also, I love it because you just know that somebody's going to have you saying that as like their child gets in the car or like their headphones unplug in the store or something. It's going to be you going, penis.
But they say it like that. I also think it's kind of offensive, but it's fine. Whatever.
Okay. Again, please stop the world and let me get off.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes, we think that Scotty maybe is in danger. I don't know. I'll confess, I at this point misread it and thought that the Sterners were his parents. So I did think that Beverly was still in the house.
Oh, yeah. So you didn't realize we were doing a Silence of the Lambs situation.
I mean, obviously you get there. Just like Scotty does, technically. But yes, as he comes, everybody bursts into his room, including the police officers who have also been tailing Beverly's family.
I love scenes like this because like they do this scene in like the teen movie when she's masturbating in the beginning, or actually in The Sweetest Thing.
I was going to say, is that my little Janie?
And like the priest comes in.
Yeah. No, I love gags where it's just like more and more and more people keep coming. So dumb. But yes, so Betty has been taken care of with the scissors, and then we've got her husband realizing shit has gone down. So here's the thing. He should not have gotten caught by this air conditioner. No. It's only because he stops and he looks up at Beverly and gives her an opportunity to push it on top of him.
Yeah, 100%. It's very silly.
Yeah, but then, of course, this all comes to a close with Beverly managing to get back to the house in time for dessert of strawberries before her family. So it is now Sunday, May 16th at 10:37 a.m., and the Sutvans are ready to go to church, and every police officer in town is waiting for them on the street outside. This is, of course, because we have heard about the Sterner murders, and Beverly is literally named on the radio as the prime suspect, to which I said, oh, you could sue for that, because she has not been charged.
The fact that this predates O.J. Simpson is really funny, that we get this slow car chase to church through the suburb streets, and it is just so funny.
I do love this silliness of them pulling up at the stoplight and the other family seeing who's in the car. It's so over the top, and yet it feels completely appropriate for this movie.
This also is something that was pulled from John Waters' life, because he'd be like, oh yeah, like I can't tell you how many times, because I mean, he lives in Baltimore, people know who he is, and so he's like, oh, I'd be like driving around with Divine, who at this point was dead already, but like I'd be driving around with Divine and people would just like start screaming at us, and it was always very scary.
Okay, so I was going to keep this until the end. I still have one more game for the end. But Trace, would you like to play a mini game?
Yes.
I want to play a game. The rules are simple. All you have to do is sit here and talk to me.
If Divine was alive, what role would they play in this film?
Oh, man.
Like, would you give it to Divine instead of Kathleen Turner, or would you go more of the Mink Stole route and just have a kind of cameo that gets something fun and big to do?
I think in this, it would have been a cameo because I don't see a studio doing it. You have to have Kathleen Turner, or again, a name in this title role. This movie wouldn't have been made with Divine in this role. But yeah, I feel like maybe Rosemary. Because that's really the kind of the biggest like secondary character. Because I mean, Divine was meant to be in Crybaby, but again, die before that could happen. But I'm gonna guess Rosemary. Just say Rosemary.
Okay, I would go with Misty personally. Even though I like Ricki Lake in this movie, I'm just imagining Divine playing that role and how silly and fun that would be.
I mean, that's kind of female trouble, isn't it?
A little. Oh yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just sort of projecting from Female Trouble onto here.
But that could be a cool like callback or tie in to Female Trouble.
Yeah. I don't know. It would have been fun. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. So we make our way to church, and everybody treats them like they have the plague because, of course, this is persona non grata. Everybody gently suspects that this woman, who is a pillar of our community, has been committing murder, so nobody wants to engage with them.
The sign outside the church saying what the sermon's about today is capital punishment and you.
Yes. Here's the thing. I'm steadfastly against capital punishment. I'm huge about rehabilitation. I don't even believe in the prison system because it has become an industrial complex, and we should really be thinking about alternative forms of, crime and
incarceration.
Yeah. But I do find the comedy around capital punishment in this movie to be quite funny. Like when this priest, who is Father Boyce, played by Colgate Salisbury, which is a fucking name.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a great name.
That's a toothpaste and a cut of
steak.
Meat.
Yes, yeah, I love it. But he ends this sermon by preaching about capital punishment. What are we waiting for, fellow Christians? Let's just do it. It's like, wait, what? What are we doing?
But that's the thing. Like it's showcasing the hypocrisy of Christians, right?
Yes.
Like, come on, Christians, let's just do it.
Let's kill people. And you're like, oh, but isn't that why you don't like Beverly right now? Because you suspect that she has killed some? Oh, never mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we also at this point have learned that they have gotten a positive fingerprint ID for her. So we are definitely going to arrest her, but we don't get to that because Beverly sneezes on a baby, and this incites a huge panic as everybody just flips the fuck out. And in the confusion,
this again also a big John Waters-ism, because she doesn't just sneeze on this baby, she hawks a loogie on this baby.
She does indeed. It's like she had a cold and she basically spits up mucus on him. But this allows Chip and Birdie to sneak Beverly out, so they steal Scotty's car and they speed away. And of course, we're going to start getting into the really heavy-handed satire about what fame does to people, because we start to get Misty posing for photographs from reporter Howell Hawkins, who is played by Jeff Mandan, outside.
Okay, yeah. Because this is pretty much all Misty will do for the rest of the film. Well, that and sell t-shirts.
Yes, yeah. She and Chip will basically shift into becoming miniature entrepreneurs and or minor celebrities who are just riding the coattails of their famous mother.
Yeah, they're basically their mom's publicists. Because I love this, too, because once we get to the actual court scene towards the end, Chip has, changed into,
oh, yeah. He looks like he's a mini studio mogul or something.
Yes, exactly. With the black hat and the glasses and everything.
It's great. It's so obvious, and yet it's so effective. Okay, so we have snuck Beverly out. We've hidden her in the back of the video rental store, but we've got a customer coming in and we have to maintain the guys. So let's entertain Mrs. Jensen, who is played by Patsy Grady Abrams. And she wants to complain about the fact that we're watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And also she has not rewound her tapes.
Of Ghost Dad.
Oh, she loves Bill Cosby.
Loves Bill Cosby, Victor.
Shit, that is not aged well. But I mean, it's also very telling, right? Like, she only rents family-related films because she's also here to rent Annie, the musical.
I actually think that joke has aged. Actually, it's not a joke. It's a line of dialogue. It's aged very well because now it's a joke.
I was going to say, the dialogue has become a joke because you're just like, oh my God, who could have guessed? And also horrifying.
Unless John Waters actually did guess and he knew.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think this is a Dimension Weinstein kind of thing where we're coloring within the lines. But yeah, so Mrs. Jensen has rented Annie and we call her a bitch and she insults Chip. Well, she insults Beverly by way of Chip. And of course, Beverly has heard this whole transaction go down. So she goes out the back after Mrs. Jensen, and Chip and Bertie realize, oh shit, we should probably go to her house just on the off chance that your mother decides she's going to try to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Scotty is also following them on foot because he is trailing his own car. So we get to Mrs. Jensen's house at 12:33. Beverly breaks in. She swaps a knife for a leg of lamb.
I love it.
So that she can beat Mrs. Jensen to death while she watches Annie. And just before this, she did have her dog Sylvester lick her feet.
Okay.
Which I feel like that alone should get you beaten to death.
That's what John Waters is into. She's like, get him all wet. Like, she just wants her feet to be soaking
gross.
wet. I do love that Beverly is hitting her with the leg of lamb to the beat of Tomorrow.
Yeah, this was personally confronting because I don't know if I said it on here. I think I said it on White Ladies in Crisis. I fucking hate Annie. Like, not even a joke. Like, if anyone ever does an Annie reference, if they make me listen to this song, I fucking block them. I punch them. Like, Brian knows he doesn't even joke about it. And folks, do not test me. I will do this to you.
Is it this movie version of Annie, or is it all Annie?
Well, I mean, all Annie because of the song, but...
so wait, where does that come from?
I watched it a bunch as a child, and I just really fucking hate it.
So you did not watch the remake with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz?
No.
That movie's not good, but I did find it, because the auto-tuning on Rose Byrne in that movie is so bad. Because she plays Grace. But
yes.
I will say that there is a TV movie with Kathy Bates as Mrs. Hannigan that I think is actually quite good.
Is it a musical, or is it just a TV movie?
No, it's a musical. It was one of those like Wonderful World of Disney things. It's like Victor Garber is Daddy Warbucks.
Yes.
Brewster is Alan Cumming, and I think Kristen Chenoweth might be the bad girl. But
okay. I mean, I like that cast, but
I don't think Annie is a very good musical either. That was the musical I had to do my senior year of high school, and I was so fucking mad. I know. I was like my last year of high school, and we're doing Annie. What?
Yeah. I mean, the last year of my high school, our production was The Pink Panther.
I'm just saying, my freshman year was fucking like Fiddler on the Roof. Like, that's some substance there. And then we end with Annie. Ugh,
yeah.
So mad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay. So our respective rants are over. Basically, don't talk to Trace about... Well, you know what? Don't talk to either one of us about Annie, because neither one of us want to talk about it. So
I will sing. I think I'm going to like it here, and I don't need anything but you a lot. Those are two songs from Annie that I do like, but no one ever thinks about them because it's always Tomorrow, and it's The Hard Knock Life.
Which is... Oh God. Ugh. I remember when somebody sampled It's a Hard Knock Life, and I had to listen to it on the Top 40 radio all the time, and I nearly died.
Hard Knock Life is good to watch because the choreography is really fun, but I don't like to listen to that song.
Like, if I want choreography, I'll just watch that new fucking Matilda movie on Netflix.
Oh, I've actually been meaning to revisit that because yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just that one number, but anyway.
Yeah, but still.
Okay. Yes. So as Beverly is beating this woman to death with a piece of meat on the bone, she does yell, "Rewind!" I appreciate the judicious but welcome splatter of blood on the TV.
Yeah, that's something I do wish this movie would have been gorier, and I think John Waters did actually want to make it a little bit gorier, but again, that was like studios pushing back, because I know for a fact that her killing the teacher with the car, that was shot longer with like her having to like bite. He's like stuck on the roof, and she has to bite his hand to get him off and things like that. And that was
wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised because we also have to remember studios typically have a lot of difficulty recognizing the balance between humor and gore, like in horror comedies specifically. And I'm never going to pretend that this is a horror movie. This is a comedy. This is a satire first and foremost. But still, that intersection, I could imagine people saying, well, I already don't get this movie. And why are you shooting it with blood?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Needless to say, this murder has been observed by Scotty at the minimum. He had a good vantage point from the garage, but Birdie, for the first time, understands, horror movie blood is not like real life blood. So she will be traumatized for the rest of the film, and I would say she has no further point in this film.
None whatsoever. But this is also when we are still getting, because again, like the whole family knows now that Beverly is a murderer.
Yeah.
And they're still like, we are going to love her anyway and deal with it, and that's really heartwarming. And that kind of, and this isn't a chosen family, obviously, like it's just actual family. But I like that. I think that's where you can see again the really obvious like comparison or the allegory of like this is queerness.
Right. Yes, it's accepting people even if they are different than what you initially believed them to be, and being able to accept those flaws or those perceived flaws and just say, well, you're still the same person, I guess, and we can work with this.
Yeah, they don't care. Murder people, by all means.
I mean, murder bad people. People who chew, sugar gum.
And don't rewind their tapes.
These are cardinal offenses, really. So, okay, yeah. So because Scotty has witnessed this murder, Beverly goes after him. So he manages to get in his car. She stabs through the roof with the scissors.
I love that.
She's still yelling about seatbelts. And then she stops a van in the middle of the street so she can order politely, I will add, the driver out so that she can go into a high-speed pursuit of Scotty. She also does put her seatbelt on before she drives off. So
I love that this suburban car chase through here. And again, one of my biggest laughs is when she drives by her family. And again, we don't do a zoom in, but you can see if you're looking closely, she blows them a kiss as she drives by.
Yeah, so Birdie and Chip just happen to be in the right vicinity where they can pop into the car with Eugene and Misty. So yes, we have everyone giving chase because the police are still tailing Eugene and Misty. So now it's like car chase. And we head into downtown Baltimore at 2:47. This is when Scotty flees into a crowded Camel Lips show at Hammerjacks, which is a punk band at some kind of music establishment.
So Camel Lips, by the way, is played by the real-life punk rock band L7. And their lead singer, Danita Sparks, wrote the song Gas Chamber specifically for this movie at John Waters' request.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember much of it, but I do remember thinking it's catchy, and I like that. I can't remember if it's the lead singer or maybe the bassist gets to hit Scotty in the gut.
Yeah, with the guitar or the bass or whatever.
Yeah.
I always said this is a catchy song. This is all just garbage to me.
It's noise, too.
Like, it's just
it's
noise.
not garbage. It's somebody else's preferred kind of music.
Yeah. Not mine.
There you go.
Like, I would not be at one of the... This is the show that, like, Julia Stiles and 10 Things I Hate About You would have gone to.
Okay. Yes. Most likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do love all their camel toes, though. They're really pronounced camel toes.
They are indeed. To the point, they're so exaggerated that it also feels like a comedic beat.
I think it is, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so, it feels like this scene could go any number of ways because the police are closing in, Beverly's family is there, and she has also managed to get up on stage where Scotty has essentially crowd surfed. And you implicitly understand that Scotty will probably die here because this is how the film has set up a number of these interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it had been something else, like there's a moment where Beverly cuts a cord backstage and you think, okay, maybe the light fixture falling on him will just kill him, but it doesn't. He manages to get out from under that and then she sets him on fire. Yeah. And I laugh even as I say it because I do think that it is funny in principle, but there's something about the execution where this feels more like a proper murder.
I get what you're saying, but here's the thing though. I don't even think she delivers necessarily the killing blow because the lead singer then takes a swig of liquor and spits it on him, which makes him go up in even more flames.
Yes, yeah. And this woman is never treated like an accomplice. As far as we know, she doesn't get arrested or anything. The show continues. Like, we wrap this number and then we take Beverly into custody. But it's like, at this point, yeah, everyone is cheering for Serial Mom because she has been recognized. And it almost feels like a fuck the police, yay Serial Mom moment.
100% is. And then, yeah, Serial Mom, Serial Mom, Serial Mom.
Yeah. Okay. So it's time to move into the last act of the film. We jump ahead 5 months to Monday, October 4th at 9:46. And the family is pushing their way through this mob frenzy of both reporters, but also fans who have gathered out in front of the courthouse. So Beverly is brought in. She is being tried by a court of her peers. So there is a jury, there is a judge, and there is a prosecutor whose name is Timothy Naselrod. Not spelled the way you think it is, but it's pronounced the way it is.
Yeah, the defense is Herbie Hebden.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did not get the actor for that one, but I can tell you that Timothy Naselrod is played by Bo James. And he definitely wants to do the don't look at this woman as a woman. She is a monster. She has killed a number of people, 6 people, very brutally. And we can say that Beverly's defense attorney tries to go the other way, so he wants to plead insanity, and Beverly doesn't agree with this. She doesn't like the way that he's talking about her, so she decides that she's going to represent herself, Trace.
Okay, but before she fires him, she does point out that juror number 8 is wearing white shoes after Labor Day.
Yes, and of course, as we said, juror number 8 is played by Patty Hearst, who doesn't really get a ton to do apart from, make eye contact at Beverly and sort of, you don't really know if she's thinking, oh, this woman is dangerous, or she's thinking, oh, this woman is relatable content.
Well, and that's something too where I'm like, yeah, I wonder how this plays for people, even the younger generations who probably did. I admit, I didn't know who Patty Hearst was when I first started watching John Waters films. Like, I think I had heard the name, but I didn't really know her whole story. And actually, Joe, you said earlier you have kind of a primer on her. So can you give that now?
Absolutely, I can. So I'll give credit to Alicia Fletcher's piece, Serial Mom, How John Waters Predicted True Crime's Morbid Appeal. I will say I take issue with the idea that there's a morbid appeal to true crime. I think that needs to be unpacked further. But this is for Hollywood Suite. And here's the specific piece, because she actually goes through a number of the different killers that are identified throughout the film. But this is the piece on Patty Hearst. So, the granddaughter of a famed newspaper magnate, William Randolph Hearst, was kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army and held captive for over a year. They forced her to rob a bank, and she was later caught by police. At trial, she described her rape and brainwashing, but the prosecution argued she joined the SLA of her own accord. So this is the big contentious piece.
Yeah.
So Patty Hearst was convicted and sentenced to 35 years in prison until President Jimmy Carter commuted her sentence, and later President Clinton granted her a pardon. And Hearst's trial was the trial of the century, prior to the O.J. Simpson case, creating an international media frenzy. And that would, of course, happen the same year that this movie comes out. So O.J. Simpson's trial began in 1994 and continued into 1995.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Patty Hearst, I mean, it is wild. And you'll hear John Waters talk about her where he's like, yeah, you just don't really talk to her about that time in her life because she doesn't want to talk about it, which is understandable.
Totally understandable. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, there's also something about this in Veronica Mars season 3, isn't there?
Possibly, yeah.
I can't remember. It might just be that Patty Hearst appears in an episode playing either herself or someone who has a very similar history.
It might be. But either way, the fact that she's also the granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst, which everyone, that's a callback to our Reefer Madness episode, because he's the guy that waged a war against hemp because it was going to fuck with his paper production.
Right. Yes.
Wild.
There's a lot of intersections between real events and popular media.
Yeah. But either way, I really do like that John Waters just became besties with Patty Hearst and was like, here, be in a bunch of my movies.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as we said, it's not like she gets a ton to do, but she is a very important figure in this last act because of what happens with juror number 8.
Yeah, and I think she's in almost every single one of his movies. Because she's definitely through Cecil B. Demented. I don't know if she's in A Dirty Shame.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the contemporary ones, so I can't say.
My God. Have you seen A Dirty Shame?
I've seen parts of it for sure, because I definitely have seen like bits of Selma Blair's performance.
Yeah, with her big old honkers.
Yeah. Speaking of, what was the name of the porn that Scotty was watching?
Oh, I don't know what the name of the movie was, but the actress was Chesty Morgan.
Yeah, gotta think that's who Selma Blair is maybe playing.
Also,
or a version of.
Patty Hearst, she's in A Dirty Shame, Cecil B. Demented, Pecker, Serial Mom and Crybaby. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right, so at this point, yes, Beverly doesn't like the person who's defending her. She doesn't like the fact that he didn't listen to her note about juror number 8 and the white after Labor Day. So she ends up firing him. She immediately changes her plea to not guilty. And then after a wipe, which I love because it's such a rare transition outside of the Star Wars universe.
Right?
The trial begins, Trace. So we're going to bring back, much like Female Trouble, a lot of the previous characters that we have gently forgotten because the movie has sort of moved beyond them.
I will say, though, if you remember, because in Female Trouble, I do think the pacing of that movie kind of lags.
It lags
the
a little
scene.
bit. Yeah. This is much tighter and quicker.
Yeah. I think that this whole last 20 minutes is one of the best parts of Serial Mom.
I think if nothing else, because it is just a bunch of jokes at the expense of the people who get up on the stand.
Yeah. I mean, again, watching Kathleen Turner mouth fuck you to Mink Stole is just...
It's so good.
Great.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. So Dottie is the first one to take the stand, and she tries to talk about the obscene phone calls, which I love, because how does that have any relevance to
the murders?
Trial?
I know. Maybe
it does not.
Maybe she's a character witness.
I mean, probably. Yeah. So basically, it's very easy to bait Dottie into yelling obscenities at Beverly from the stand. So this just immediately discredits her.
Fuck you too, you whore.
Yeah, like it's also really funny to see Dottie give it back to Beverly. It's a really bad time for her to decide to do this because it doesn't help her.
She loses her shit.
Yeah, but it's very entertaining to watch. Okay, so the next day we see Misty hawking merch outside the courthouse, $12 t-shirts. We also have Howell's book that he has managed to write in the 4 months. And we also have, yes, as you said, Chip negotiating things like TV deals. So after he gets punched out by Carl's brother, he does manage to find some common ground when they both agree that Suzanne Summers would be a very intriguing person to play Beverly.
Yeah, that's really funny. Also, another Geraldo reference. I'm just thinking about Scream, because I feel like Gail Weathers mentions Geraldo a lot.
Oh, right. Yes.
Easy Geraldo.
Yeah. The other interesting thing is, so we've mentioned the OJ trial a number of times, and this movie is very prescient in anticipating some of the things that would happen specifically with the coverage of OJ's trial. Not so much the content, like the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson, but this hawking of t-shirts, that was something that people identified as like, oh, this is a new kind of twisted development that does happen with the OJ trial.
Yes.
Okay, so next up on the stand, we have the Stoner Girl's return, and she got high before she took the stand, so she can't even form a cohesive statement. It's just the blue, I said blue. So she gets pumped out. Next up, we've got Detective Gracie. This, I will say, is something I didn't like, if only because this seems very much a judgment explicitly labeled at a kink, which I would have thought that John Waters would be a bit better than this. So the way that we discredit Detective Gracie is that we have found chicks with dicks in his garbage.
No, I think, though, that this is kind of softened for me by what Beverly says, which is don't judge people based off of what they read. And so I think that it's used as ammo against him because that is what society would view this particular kink.
Right.
But I don't think the intent is to shame this.
I would argue it's on the line. I definitely hear what you're saying. And Beverly is essentially refuting his testimony, which is that, well, she was reading a bunch of true crime stuff. So obviously that tells you a certain something about her character. And she says, well, you claim you're a married man, but you're also reading about alternative sexualities. But the film definitely still presents it as, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's reading this material.
Yeah, I think I would take more umbrance with this. Umbrance, is that the right word? Umbrance?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
I would take more umbrance with this if Beverly was, like, if she killed him because he liked this magazine.
Sure.
You know? Like, if she was showing prejudice against this particular kink, I would have a bigger issue with.
I agree. Yes, I agree with that.
But I hear what you're saying, and I get it. I don't think that's fully the intent, but I agree it is on the line. It's on the line.
Yeah, and I guess just because so much of the rest of this film hasn't really gone into that, except for the glory hole Boyer guy.
Right, yeah.
But even that, like, we don't really judge him for that. It never comes up on the stand like, well, what were you doing in the bathroom, perv?
Yeah, because there aren't really, a ton of, like, queer characters in this movie, which is unique for John Waters.
Yeah. I mean, I think, as we said earlier, we could maybe read a little bit of Birdie and maybe even Chip, because Chip doesn't seem to have any interest in Birdie either.
Aren't they meant to be boyfriend and girlfriend?
I don't know. I think you can read them as such, but also not.
Okay, yeah.
Like platonic friends who are just interested in horror films.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is Rosemary, and she seems to be doing well. You know, she's actually giving some very damning evidence about the blood that she saw on both the fire poker as well as Beverly's shoes, but then she loses the crowd sympathy trace when it comes out. She doesn't
recycle.
Which, again, I love.
But her excuse, I don't have room in my kitchen. I was kind of, yeah, honestly, like, I get it. I
kind of understand that, but also, is the planet not important to you? You've got to make space for it.
My apartment complex doesn't recycle. I think that's really weird.
It's actually not surprising. There's a bunch of places who I think they managed to just kind of worm their way out of it. Mm-hmm. My building, we have a garbage chute, and you can hit the button for things like compost as well as recyclables. I'm not convinced it doesn't all just go to the same place.
Yeah, well, maybe so.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? We should all try to do our best. And also, this is my casual reminder that ChatGPT uses a fuck ton of water, so maybe don't use that if you currently are, because that's a huge environmental issue.
Yeah.
Okay, soapbox moment over. Let's bring in Suzanne Summers, because she plays herself in this movie.
I do love that. Which, again, you're getting Suzanne Summers in a John Waters film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like this, if only because, unfortunately, I think this is something that hasn't aged particularly well, just because Suzanne Summers doesn't have the same name recognition. Right. But, like, this is a hugely funny moment for 1994 because Suzanne Summers would have been near the peak of her popularity. Like, this is obviously after Three's Company, but, like, this would have been right around the time that she starts to do
the Thigh Master stuff, right?
That, but also that TGIF show she did.
Step by Step.
Step by Step.
Yes,
yeah. That's actually how that was my introduction to Suzanne Summers. I was like, yeah, she's really fun as the mom. And people were like, she was huge in Exercise.
I definitely knew her through the Thigh Master stuff because I definitely saw those commercials and infomercials growing up. But then I don't know if I ever watched. I think I always get Step by Step confused with Growing Pains, which is weird because they're not even the same. Because Step by Step is more of a Brady Bunch thing.
Yes, it's definitely, we merged our families and produced a new giant one. But it's like the kind of next generation afterwards, after Family Ties.
But Three's Company, man. Ooh, love Three's Company.
Oh, interesting. I've never actually watched it. All of my pop culture references come from other people just saying what it's about.
Because you know that the premise, like, he has to pretend to be gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, how much mileage do we get out of that premise?
I mean, how many seasons did that show last? Like 100?
A lot. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so Suzanne Summers is on the scene. She distracts everybody. So I love that we don't even try to discredit Detective Pike, who is the person who is actually on the stage when she comes into the courtroom. It's more just whatever he was saying, no one pays attention to because they're only looking at Suzanne Summers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the next person is the voyeur, Marvin A. Pickles, and he perjures himself because Beverly distracts him with her shimmering legs.
This is... Hey, is this like a composite shot? Because
The upper body does not match the legs, right?
So I thought it was a joke, or it was like, these aren't her legs. But then in the commentary, they're saying, no, those are Kathleen Turner's legs. Okay, so did you shoot the legs?
I think so. Separately.
Yeah,
because it just looks like her midsection would have to be stretched.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a weird optical illusion, but I kind of feel like that's part of the charm. Like, I mean, Kathleen Turner is having the best time making these really salacious facial expressions and, wiggling the legs. It's so provocative. You're not actually seeing anything, but of course, this guy is a pervert, so he is exceptionally turned on, and to the point that he's willing to perjure himself for it. Okay, so this is basically it. We're now up to closing statements, and we're cross-cutting this with Suzanne Summers talking about how she's already accepted the role. She will be playing Beverly in a TV movie, and she talks about Beverly as this feminist icon, this woman who has found herself ensnared in a corrupt legal system that is unfairly prejudiced against her and so on. And then we've got the two closing statements by both Beverly as well as the prosecutor, but, basically she gets off. She is found innocent. So I do love this moment where everyone in the family kind of looks at each other and says, oh, we were all advocating for this. We were all profiting off of her notoriety. But now she's actually going to have to, come home? How's that going to work?
Which would love to watch that sequel where they just have to kind of live with their serial mom.
Right. Okay. Hold on to that thought.
Okay.
But yes, so I think there's also a good joke because Misty is now dating Howell, this reporter. They're firmly making money off of this collectively. But there is this moment of panic when he realizes he will have to interact with Beverly. And Misty just goes, do your best not to get on her bad side. Sorry, she says, don't get on mother's nerves. There we go.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is something that juror number 8 should have considered because this is when she is beaten to death with a telephone because even though she tries to justify it, fashion has not changed and it is not okay to wear white after Labor Day.
I know you did at the beginning, but I really, really do love Hearst's delivery of, please, fashion has changed.
It is a really good line reading and this idea that, something as dumb as a fashion faux pas means you deserve to die in the courtroom, in the courthouse, feet away from this frenzied group, this scrum of reporters. And then Beverly just goes back out and takes a picture with Suzanne Summers and gets mad at her because she's on the wrong side.
This is my bad side. Yeah, it's funny because Beverly, if she wouldn't have killed anyone after this, she's in the clear. They can't double jeopardy her, make her go for trial for this shit again. She got off, but she immediately kills someone again.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And it's a brand new murder, which means, of course, you could be tried. But it doesn't even seem like that's what happens because, of course, we just freeze frame on her. And then our final script reveals that Beverly refused to cooperate with the making of the film, which, in some ways, this is such a meta joke, right? Mm-hmm. Where we're suggesting that John Waters is actually the person who made this and this is a real movie.
Right.
But it's not Suzanne Summers who plays the lead role. So what is this movie then? Because Suzanne Summers is still playing herself.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But it's I do feel like this ending feels very abrupt. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to this ending. But
the juror number 8 joke is a really funny beat to end the movie on, but then the coming back in the photo and the yelling at Suzanne Summers and then bam, this script, it does feel very quick.
Yeah, it is a thing where I almost feel like she should have killed Suzanne Summers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, that's the end of the movie. And
that's the end of the movie.
I like it. Again, not top tier Waters for me, but it's really good. And I think, as you said, this is a good way to introduce someone to John Waters. And I think it's actually how most people were introduced to John Waters.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we sign off and tell people where we're going next, Trace, the other game, which is a little bit more fun and kind of speculative. So you just mentioned you would love to see a sequel where we have to bring serial mom home and then live with her in the fallout. So that's one option. The other option is, would you rather see this film get remade? And if so, who would you cast?
I would love to say. Oh, God.
Right? Do you think somebody can beat this performance?
Well, so I was going to say, I was like, well, we haven't remade a John Waters film except for Hairspray.
Yes.
And every iteration of Hairspray is amazing.
Okay.
So that's like my favorite musical of all time. Sorry, Chorus Line and Hairspray, but Hairspray is like one of my absolute favorite musicals. I fucking love it. I would remake this.
Okay.
Oh my God, there's so many choices for who.
Yeah, because it's an actress of a certain age, but she needs to have the kind of gravitas, but then also be able to play the deadpan comedy.
I have no proof that she could do this, but I would love to see her try. Carrie Coon.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, like nothing in her filmography would let me believe that she's a good comedian, but I would love to see that.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm trying to think, has Carrie Coon ever played an explicitly comedic role? And I think the closest we're getting is something like The White Lotus.
Yeah.
Which is not even the most comedic.
I guess
level.
those Ghostbusters movies, but I haven't seen those.
No, she's just the mom.
She's just the mom.
No, it's literally like, oh, you don't have a role. Your role is mom. And it's boring.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that choice, if only because I consider Coon to be an extremely versatile actress, so I would not be surprised to discover that she's really funny.
Yeah, 100%. But do you have a pick for this?
It's funny. I actually went quite a bit older. My immediate thought was someone like Christine Baranski.
Okay,
That was your other choice?
That was another choice I had. I was like, maybe she's too old, but I don't know. But yeah, but because when I said Carrie Coon, then I was like, well, how
are we just going with Gilded Age actors?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because Gilded Age is not a comedy, but Carrie Coon does have funny moments of deadpan on the Gilded Age. And I was like, oh, well, but Christine Baranski is definitely the comedic relief of the Gilded Age. And so I'm like, well, you could do that. So
I almost think, though, Christine Baranski is too obviously comedic because you don't think Kathleen Turner is incredibly funny, and she has been in a bunch of comedies, but I do feel like when people think of her, they think of her more traditionally dramatic oriented roles.
Yeah, the closest I can think, and again, it's not even a show that's particularly well, it is funny, but because Carrie Coon is the lead in season 3 of Fargo.
Right. Yeah.
So, and she does the Minnesota accent and everything. So there is, but again, that's kind of one of the most dour seasons of the show. It is funny, but it's one of the least funny seasons of the show. So I don't know.
Ooh, okay. I've got it.
Sticking
with the Fargo idea. Can you see it? Are you
going to say Kirsten Dunst?
Kirsten Dunst.
I would love... Oh, my God.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, my God. She would kill it.
Yeah, and we know she
literally
she
would kill it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Kirsten Dunst, man. Oh, fuck. That'd be so
There we go. We cracked it.
So
we did it.
Cool.
We did it again, Trace. Okay, we're putting that out into the ether, into the universe. Everyone cast your spell. Let's make that happen.
Let's make it happen. Remake Serial Mom, everybody. And honestly, let John Waters direct it again. Fuck it.
Oh, that would be... Yes. Get him out of fucking director's jail, which apparently is just financier jail.
I mean, well, you know what? You go see A Dirty Shame and tell me if you think he deserves director's jail.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would say this. A Dirty Shame is a movie that I actually really hated the first time I watched it. And it was before I watched all of John Waters' films.
Oh, okay.
Then when I got John Waters, and granted, Dirty Shame is probably his film of
it's still not
substance.
his greatest film. Yeah.
No, but it's a movie where every time I watch it, and I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now, I do think it's funnier every time I watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We are often saying movies do play better once you actually know what they're about and you can level your expectations, meet the film where it's at, accept what it's doing. But I think comedies can be tricky because sometimes they're funny right out of the gates, but a lot of the time I find some of the best comedies are ones where I go back and I discover new jokes, or I realize it hits different.
Well, and the thing is, though, A Dirty Shame, like, I don't even think it's that you're finding new jokes. I think it's that the jokes are wearing you down to where you find them funny. Like, it's a very stupid movie. Like, it is real dumb.
I should drop myself in and I allow myself to be tortured by A Dirty Shame until it becomes funny.
That's
what you're saying.
Yeah. If you hated A Dirty Shame, I would totally understand it. But it's a movie. Again, I just every time I watch it, I'm like, this is really funny.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. Well, before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. The link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And If you want even more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you will get 410 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 2, Episodes 7 and 8, Lurker, Together, Weapons, and a brand new audio commentary on Wes Craven's Red Eye for its 20th anniversary. And we have begun dropping new content again on our requel tier, so if you subscribe today, you will get individual episode-by-episode recaps of Season 2 of The Last of Us, as well as Noah Hawley's new Alien Earth TV show. And y'all... Juicy shit. Yeah, we're getting good shit on that show.
Yeah, and those are not short episodes of either Alien Earth or our episodes on the requel tier. So, like, again, good value for money.
Good value for your money. But Joe, what are we talking about next week?
Okay, well, we are doing our Cineverse duty. So, to coincide with the new remake, of The Toxic Avenger that is coming out, we are going to look at the original Toxic Avenger, which you have told me features a prominent child death.
Oh my god, I'm so excited because you've never seen this. I've
never seen it.
I have seen this twice, and it was one of those movies where I watched it and I fucking loved it. And I told my husband, like, we have to watch this as soon as possible. So, like, the next day, I was like, okay, I watched it 2 days in a row. It's so funny. It's such a funny movie. I really, and you know me, me and trauma don't really always mesh really well together.
This is true. We have covered a number of trauma, not on the podcast, but back when we were doing our editorial series, we've covered a couple of them. And yeah, you were never quite as warm on them as I was.
Yes, but Toxic Avenger, I was. This is a fantastic film. I love it so much.
I'm excited. Yeah. I mean, we both seen the new one. I like it a little bit more than you do, but I'm excited to kind of go back and check out where it all came from.
Yeah, and I'll explain why I'm kind of on the remake compared to you next week.
Okay. You know what? That's a good tease. I love it. You know what? People, we're edging you for the next 7 days until you can hear Trace's explanation.
Yes, but until then, we can cross out Serial Mom.
Indeed. And cross out White Shoes After Labor Day.
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. AI makes it easy to hand off routine tasks and stay focused on important work. That's how work gets handled. Visit us at asana.com.
The Toxic Avenger is finally nearly here. Macon Blair's new take on the cult classic superhero movie starring Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, Taylor Page, with Elijah Wood and Kevin Bacon hits theaters August 29th. That's right, Kevin frickin' Bacon. See the long-awaited and totally unrated action comedy from the studio that brought you Terrifier 3. Only in theaters this Labor Day weekend. Get tickets now at toxicavenger.com/podcast.